name's Dean Windass. I'm an ex-Hull, Aberdeen, Oxford, Bradford, Middlesbrough, back to Bradford, Sheffield United, back to Hull. Played for 20 years. We scored 234 goals and made over 800 league appearances. Born and bred in Hull, that's where I came from, and obviously played for Hull City in the 90s. I was what was called a YTS when I was 16, up to 18. And then got released as a footballer. Said I was too small, and then obviously worked on a building site, played non-league football, and then got a bit of a break in my life really when I signed back for Hull City again when I was 21 with Terry Dolan, the manager. And yeah, so played for 20 years. Eight clubs, 2 loans, obviously 8 clubs, and yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride now after football really. I think any sportsman will tell you, after when you retire. I always say when you retire from a job and you're working hard every day, you want to retire because it's hard work, but I didn't class football as hard work. Training every day, getting paid for something you loved really. So, and obviously my 2 boys are footballers now, and I always say that, I used to train as though it was my last training session, and I used to play a game as though it was my last game because it goes very quickly. So 20 years, yeah. As you score, most famous for scoring the goal at Wembley for Hull, a local town, and in 2008, which was the £60 million goal they called it, and it got Hull, in the Premier League for the first time. So for me to get released at the age of 18, and then to go back and then create what we did as a group was incredible. Yeah, it was obviously the accumulation of things really. I think that obviously when I brought my first autobiography out, everybody sort of was aware what was going on. But when my mum and dad got divorced at 12, I was I suffered a little bit in silence really. I think that in my day, if you went out and told anybody, if I got brayed in the street and I come in, my dad would bray me again. It was one of them where you go out and you fight your battles and you don't show any weakness really. So at the age of 12, I struggled really bad when my parents got divorced, and then I got divorced when I got married, which I said I'd never ever put my children through what I went through, but I did. Exactly the same age as me and my brother. I was 12, my brother was 18. Jordan was 12, Josh was 18. So I never broke the cycle really, and then obviously retiring was a situation where I struggled with it. I knew I was going to retire because I was 40, I had 20 years. And but then my dad passed away. My dad had an heart attack out the blue, and I'd never really spoke to my dad for 3 or 4 months. We had an argument over the phone, didn't speak to him because I was living in Leeds. And so divorce, my dad dying, and then obviously depression really sank in then. Drinking very, very heavily. I always say on the after dinner circuit, I've never took drugs in my life, but I was drinking every day just to block out the pain really, and I did really suffer, and I tried taking my own life twice with tablets and stupid things, and yeah, I ended up in Sporting Chance. I ended up in Tony Adams' clinic for 26 days, and that sort of saved my life really, because then I started to speak out a little bit and got a few things off my chest from probably the age of 12-year-old, which I never ever. But the trouble is, I think when you're a kid, you don't realise that you're suffering. You just go to school, you have a bit of banter with your mates, play football. Football was a release. And but then as you got older, and then things started to deteriorate a little bit. And Anthony, I'll tell you, after boxing, when you finish, your phone doesn't ring. People don't want any signed boxing gloves or signed shirts or this, that, and the other. And it sort of comes to an end very quickly. Yeah, you get recognised all the time, and that's just the nature of the job. But it's when it does come to an end, and all that adulation you're getting for scoring goals, and then so it was like a massive accumulation of things that went through my life in that sort of 2011 period, and yeah, it was tough. Yeah, I started. Well, I didn't realise what it was till I had a panic attack. And I was in the garden. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning, but I'd been drinking as well, and I woke up obviously with that. I couldn't breathe. My sinuses used to be bad anyway, because I broke my nose 3 or 4 times getting elbowed at football, and and I sort of felt as though I couldn't breathe, and I had to go in the garden. I remember going in the garden about 4:30 in the morning when I was living with somebody else, and I thought I was dying. I actually thought I was dying, you know, and then the anxiety started to come on, you know, and I think that's, but when you speak about anxiety, it's about your mind, you know, people say it's in your mind, and then obviously we're going to touch on the CBD oil, which really sorted me out. I couldn't believe how, I was a bit sceptical about it, of course everybody is, and that when Anthony introduced me to it, it was just incredible how it sort of helped my sleep, because I was afraid to go to bed. I was tired, but I was afraid to go to bed because I knew I'd be tossing and turning and my mind would be working overtime, and so yeah, it was tough. And then, but the anxiety, I didn't really understand it, and I think I was a bit of a hypocrite really, because when I was a footballer and people said I suffered with panic attacks or anxiety, I'd say get a grip. But until it happens to yourself, you don't realise how strenuous and how stressful it is really, you know. And so yeah, it did frighten me a little bit, yeah. Well, obviously just looking at Anthony's posts on Twitter, and then obviously John Hartson got involved with it, and a few ex-players got involved with it, you know, and I'll probably tell you that probably 90% of ex-footballers, you know, do suffer. I know that with our Walking's brilliant group, I'd say 8 or 9 lads suffer with anxiety now after football and whatever's gone in there, diversity in their life. So when I saw Anthony on the post and that, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go, and I didn't realise how good it was, to be fair, you know, because I was sleeping. But don't get me wrong, then I'd got a new partner, you know, I met Kerry, and that changed my life as well. And then I started taking this oil, and I started sleeping better. I started getting the anxiety, you know, I still get anxiety, but then I take the gummies, you know, like the strength of it. So I had one this afternoon. I just had a little syringe this afternoon just to calm me down a little bit really. But yeah, and I, as you say, I try to promote it as much as I can. You know, and you're at my mum's house now, and my mum, you know, suffers, you know, with a little bit of it, and she takes the gummies. She doesn't take the oil, but she takes the gummies all the time. You know, and she gets the gummies and that, and you know, so it helps her as well. So. No, so so basically, if I keep busy, like say during the day, if I do feel a bit of anxiety coming on, I have it in my car, so I'll just have a little top up. Then obviously before, so the way I take CBD oil is I'll take it 2 hours before I go to bed, but I'll take 2 syringes, and as you say, you put it under your tongue, you leave it for 20 seconds, then you swallow it, and then like every now and then I'll have a gummy, and I don't take the gummies so much as I take the oil. But the trouble is, it's like anything with footballers, or sports people, they've got a bit of OCD. You know, you've got to do this. So if I don't take it before I go to bed, I know I'm not going to sleep. So I religiously take it a couple of hours without a shadow of a doubt, because I'd be scared to go to bed if I didn't take it. And it bobs me off. Just the comments that I get on my direct message, you know, saying that thanks for putting me onto this really, you know, and if it helps people, that's what I try to do. And you know, I think that people don't realise when you, like we said earlier, when you do have anxiety or you have panic attacks, that this product does help you. And I wouldn't take it myself if it didn't. It's not the fact that, you know, the fact that you're helping somebody, and somebody, you know, I get more satisfaction when I do my videos. That I get unbelievable satisfaction saying, I remember I was doing after dinner speak about 3 or 4 months ago, and this lad who must have been 20, 21 year old, and he says to me, I watch your videos. I went, oh right, brilliant. He says, you've saved my life. I went, what do you mean? He says, I was 5 stone overweight. He said, I've lost all my weight from walking. That's with the lads doing that, Big Norm and Chrissy Kirkland and them lot. And he says, and I take the CBD oil as well. And I went, brilliant. He said, I've used your code. I went, brilliant. He says, but if I didn't watch your videos, I'd probably took my own life at the age of 21. Well, I'm a very emotional person, man. I was in tears. I had to walk away from the kid, you know what I mean? You give me a cuddle, I walked off, and I just thought that made my night, that. You know, just one young lad who's 21-year-old. Doesn't matter what age you are. You know, I think now there's a lot of teenagers now, especially with social media, on the mental health side of it. You know, people taking their own life, and especially men. I think that, you know, there's a high risk of suicide now, or taking your own life. You're not supposed to say suicide really, but you know, taking your own life because of the pressures of life. And I think that when you get to my age, you know, I spoke to a doctor the other week saying that from the age of 51 to 54 there's more heart attacks, you know, than anything else because of pressures of life. And I don't know if, obviously, as you say, I feel more calm on the night when I've took my oral. I do, and I do that, I'm not just saying that, but I do, not lying about it. And it does help me, and as you say, hopefully it'll help other people. Try it, don't knock it till you've tried it, as you say. It's the old saying, isn't it? The old fashioned saying, the cliche. Just don't knock it till you've tried it. And if you don't, listen, I will say I don't throw it down people's throats. If you want to do it, I put it on my well, Kerry runs my Facebook. Kerry does on my Facebook, and I put it on my Twitter and Instagram. And if you want it, if you want to take it, if you don't criticise people for doing it, because you're against it. It's like people who don't have the jabs when they're COVID. If you don't want to have your injections, don't have them. That's entirely, everybody's got their own opinion about things. But don't knock it till you try it, because if you do, you know, like you said, that gentleman there, an old gentleman, 60-odd-year-old, and he said it's worked for me. Well, brilliant. If he wants to keep, you know, using my code, then do it. But if you don't, then fair enough. It's not going to affect my life. As long as I'm alright taking it and I keep promoting it, and that's the main thing. And you know, each of their own really, and I think that everybody's got their own opinions, and if you don't want to do it, don't do it, but don't criticise people. If it makes people happy and it makes people sleep and it gives less anxiety and less panic attacks, then try it.
And do you think sports people should be allowed to take it?
I don't know, I'm not that medical side of it. Listen, I'm one of these where, because I'm anti-drugs really, I've never took drugs in my life, and yeah, this is like classed as a drug, but it's not in a sense of, you know, how do I score the goal at Wembley in 2008 by taking a drop of oil? That's just ability. It's not about what you've took in your body. I want to say it's a enhancing drug that makes you perform better or whatever. Yeah, there's certain steroids in there, there's certain where all the athletes take it and then they get caught by taking the wrong drugs. But listen, at the end of the day, you've got to be naive or thick. You know, if you're a sportsman, you ask the question, can I take that? You know, that helps me. If you say no, then you don't take it. But certainly this now after football, certainly improved my